Breath and out of time, we're feeling the grind. You spend your weekend in a line, just freaking crying. Come on and take a little ride. We'll reach for the sky. And reason, don't you know Molly and reason, and then I say Polly and reason, don't you know Willie and reason, and my brother Chili and reason, don't you know George's a reason, and when they say I'm just a reason, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're taking 5, it's easy as pie.
Good morning. You're listening to Coffee and Conversation with your boy J Mad on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on, even Alexa. That's right, Alexa can make it do what it do. Good morning to all of those let me check out those in the chat room. Good morning to those in the chat room. Good morning, Nurse Rachel at Emory Winship Cancer Center. Emory Winship Cancer Center. So shout out to those that's out there, Nurse Rachel, and to my Winship Warriors. Shout out to all of those that's out there, my Winship Warriors. Y'all giving cancer hell. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep fighting the fight. Keep fighting that good fight. I call them trainers. To all the trainers that's out there, that's helping the my warriors. Shout out to you all as well. Shout out to you all as all the doctors, nurses, therapists, all of those, even those that environmental engineers, I think that's what they call them. Shout out to you all as well. Dr. Tony, good morning to you, love. Good to have you on the show as well. Shout out to those that's on Facebook Live. If I'm having issues on Facebook, can somebody please put that in, not Facebook, and on Spreaker, please put that in the chat room so I'll know. I'll see if I can make some type of adjustment. I know Tuesday it was really bad. I got several emails and text messages concerning that. So people that I didn't even know was listening. So shout out. Oh, that's right. Shout out to those who listen to the show, but are never in the chat room, and that's fine. I get it. Cool. It's just like you being on the radio, I guess. So shout out to my unvoiced listeners. Good shout out to you all this morning as well. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Wow, that coffee is amazing this morning. This morning I really wasn't going to do a show today. Let me start there. I really wasn't going to do a show today. It wasn't. I didn't feel that it was in me. I didn't feel it was in me to do. And right about 7:15, 7:30, I heard something that I haven't heard in years. I heard something that I haven't heard in years. And that something was this statement. Y'all remember back in the day when we would take these tests that was timed? They had to time you on these tests. And in the process of taking, or the part of the instructions that they would give you was this statement. And this is what I heard this morning. Use your time wisely. Y'all remember that? Back in the day, you're getting ready to take, and they got to make sure you have your number 2 pencil, make sure your name is on there, bubbled in correctly, and all of this other stuff. And then they give you this long list of instructions, and then all of a sudden one of the teacher would look up and look at you and say, use your time wisely. That's the angle that I want to come up with this morning, about how we can effectively use our time. How can we effectively use our time? Here's I was when I heard that statement, when y'all know I'm a preacher, so stuff just jumps in my spirit. When I heard that statement, the very next thing that I saw in my head was in the book of Nehemiah, where they were building the wall. And one of the scriptures says in chapter 4, I think it's in chapter 4, he says, and to those that was building the wall, he said they carried their tool or their resource in one hand and their weapon in the other. They use their weapon in one hand and their tool. They had their tool in one hand and their resource, or the building material, or their tools that they was using in another hand. Lord, I don't understand why this thing is not acting right, but we're gonna work through it. In doing this, they were able to be prepared. They were able to be prepared, no matter the situation. Here's the thing: when life come at you, you have to be prepared for whatever comes at you. But you can't use the wrong thing at the wrong time. This is getting good. You can't use your weapon when you should be building, and you can't use your building materials when you should be fighting. The problem with a lot of us at times is that we are ineffectively using our time. I don't care if it's your daily chores time, the time when it comes to reaching your destiny, or this lifeline that we're on that has its time. Do we use our time? Are we using our time wisely? Every day we get 24 hours. Every single day we get 24 hours. Those that wake up in the morning, you have 24 hours. If the Lord say so and the creek don't rise. That's how my granddaddy used to say it back in the day. But you basically have 24 hours. But every moment count. And you have to know when you should be. If I can just use the example of the builders in Nehemiah when they was building, they had to know they had to know and be prepared. They had to know and be prepared to fight or build. Let me help y'all out. A lot of times, we simply aren't prepared for what's in front of us. Okay, I'll slow walk it for you. I'll slow walk it for you. We think that whatever moment that we're in, we're only supposed to have that available for us. For instance, if using the fighting and building in life, you're going to have to do both. There are times that you're going to have to fight, and then there are times that you're going to have to build. But those moments can shift instantly. And if you don't pay attention, if you don't know that it's time to build, or if you don't know that it's time to fight, to stop fighting and to build, you're going to mess some things up. We get in our feelings. We get in our emotions at times. We get in our emotions at times. We get in our feelings at times. And in getting in our feelings and in our emotions, we tend to stay in the fighting mode too long, because sometimes we are so naive at things that we tend to ignore the fact that I need to stop building. I need to stop building and start fighting. Some of us fight too long. Some of us build too long. It is a balancing act in life of knowing when to do what. Sometimes in relationship, you're going to fight. But you can't watch this. You can't stay in that fighting mode too long. You can't stay in that fighting mode too long, because you're going to miss the opportunity when it's time to say, okay, let's not fight, let's build. Let's not, and watch this. In relationship, is a lot of time is not fighting each other. It's fighting outside influences. And when you're fighting influences, you have to understand that sometimes, okay, y'all gonna have to pull back on that for a minute now, and let's start building. That storm came our way, and we defended ourselves against the storm. And we fought against the storm. But then now that the storm has passed, it's time not to fight. It's time to build. And a lot of times we miss those moments. Or sometimes we stay in the building phase so long. I'm building, I'm kikiing, I'm building, and not noticing that on the outside of your wall, something is attacking you, because we become too naive to outside influences. I know I'm helping somebody out today. I know I am. The builders and the fighters, they were in one. In when we was talking about the people in Nehemiah when they was building, they said they carried their building resources in one hand and that their weapon in the other. So they were prepared for whatever moment showed up. They were prepared to do what the teacher told us a long time ago when we was taking these tests. Use your time wisely. Use your time wisely. Are you fighting too much, or are you building too much, or are you learning how to balance? Life, people, life is a balancing act. Life is a balancing act. We have to learn how to take the good and the bad and balance those things out, because you're going to have the good and the bad in your life. You're going to have situations in your life where it's time to fight. Now let's be right there. In carrying the weapon of choice that they had to be trained in using it. Okay. Being in the military, I served with the Navy and within the Marine Corps. There were certain weapons that if you're going to be issued a certain weapon, or if you're going to hold this this title, you're going to have to get trained on it beforehand. They're not just gonna give you an M6C and say, okay, go to war. They're not gonna put you on one of them M40s and just say, okay, it's your turn to use this thing, without knowing how to use the fighting instrument. Here is one of the things that we never talk about when it comes to relationships. And when I try to say this all the time. When I say relationship, I'm not just talking about love relationship. I'm talking about all relationship, family relationship, job relationship, church relationship, organization relationship, whatever relationship you no matter where you find yourself, you're in some type of relationship. In relationship, one of the things that we're not taught is how to fight. Okay. The reason why so much damage takes place in relationships is because we don't know how to fight, or we don't know how to use a tool within our system, within our body, within our intellect. We don't know, we haven't been taught how to use that as a fighting instrument. But what happens is we take the certain tools that we think we have, and we go out swinging with that whatever it is, whatever you use to fight in relationship. When something happened and it's time to fight, we take that, whatever it is, whether it's verbal, whether it's nonverbal, whether it's reaction, or whether it's revenge, or whatever the case, whatever we use, we just go out and we just throw that thing out there, and we injure people that has absolutely nothing to do with the real fight. And watch this. We end up the areas that we've built up, in areas that we end up building up, we end up destroying part of that wall. The area that we've already built, we end up, because we don't know how to use the instrument. We don't know how to use the instrument to fight with. So now we just all willy-nilly with it. And now we're destroying areas in our lives that we built up. And then next thing you know, when the fighting ceases, we turn back around and look at our wall, and we see how much in that relationship we've destroyed, because we ineffectively used our anger. We ineffectively use the moment that we should have been fighting. We're fighting at the wrong thing. We're fighting with the wrong tool. We're moving forward with the wrong things. So you're using this weapon to fight with, not knowing that you're destroying the wall that you've been building over the last month, year, whatever the case may be, however long you've been in that relationship. So what we need to learn to do is if we're gonna carry a weapon in one hand and be prepared and have the resources in the other hand, so that I can build and fight when necessary. Build, then fight when necessary. Build, then fight when necessary. Instead of fighting when you should be building, or building when you should be fighting. And so we find ourselves destroying things, or destroying ourselves. Because what happened when you're building and you should be fighting, we get into a place where we're minimizing us. We're letting people walk all over us. We're not saying what we want to say. We're not doing what we think needs to be done. Those areas, look, I'm not going to put up with that. You know, I love you, but let's stop building here. We need to fight this thing out right here. We need to get rid of this right here. It ain't time to build, and I'm not going to be over here building while you over here tearing down stuff. Sometimes you got to stop building so that you can confront what's trying to destroy you. But if you're not using your time, again, if you're not using your time wisely, if you're not physically using your when in times where, okay, I need to be out here, building my wall. But instead of building my wall, I remember what they did to me yesterday. I'm still mad about how they treated me when I was a little kid. I'm still upset how that job fired me for no reason. I'm still mad because he cheated on me. I'm still mad because she spent all of my money. And instead of dealing with it and fighting when it's time to fight, now you should be building. And instead of building, you're sitting there fighting. You're fighting in your head. You're fighting with your attitude. You're fighting with your emotions. And with what should be happening to us and for us is being missed out. All because we don't know when to fight and when to build. When to fight and when to build. When to fight and when to build. Biblically speaking, again, the word says there's a time and a place for everything. For everything. It didn't say some things. It says everything. It's a time and a place for it. And missing your timing or wasting your time, not using your time wisely, can uproot, can destroy, can off edge things in your life. All because we said, I can't do, I'm going to fight right here. I'm going to bring up the past. I'm instead of dealing with the things ahead of time. And here's one of the reasons. Watch this. Here's one of the reasons we fight when we should be building. It's not that we're fighting somebody else. We're fighting memories. We're fighting. Woulda, coulda, shouldas. We're fighting things instead of saying, because a lot of times what we do is this. We fight imaginary fights or imaginary people or imaginary situation because we want to go back in the past. Our desire is to go back in the past and change that. But please understand, everything that happened to you in the past should serve a purpose in the future. If you say, and I know I have other people that are of different faiths, but those that believe in God and those that believe that God doesn't make mistakes. That means, and if you use this statement, God knew you from when you was a baby all the way to your destiny, your purpose in life, until you reach that place, your destiny in life. If we make all of those statements, we have to understand that God, from the time you was born, and actually before, because he said before you even got in your mama's belly, he knew you. So the moment he knew you to the end of your life, God took into account everything that happened in between A and B. He accounted for all of the mistakes that you made. He accounted for all of the bad options that you took. He accounted for all of that stuff. He accounted for all of the things that people was going to do to you. He accounted for all of the things that you were going to do to people. See, a lot of times we sit and we complain about the things that people do to us, and we miss what we've done to other people. We miss that part. People come out with discerning. They say they're discerning stuff. If you can't discern what's in you, then you're not discerning. You are judging other folks. There's a difference. Discerning starts at home first, then goes out. If you don't see nothing wrong with you, and if you don't address the issues with you, there is no reason to address the issues in anybody else. Are you going to be perfect? No. But when it comes to living our life, because again, the topic, use your time wisely. Those people that's coming in the latter part of this, the teacher used to tell us before we took that test, use your time wisely. And we're using the people that was in Nehemiah when they was building the wall, how they had to have a weapon in one hand and your tool resource in the other hand, so they can build and be prepared to fight, or they can fight and be prepared to build. You have to be both. You have to do both. You have to know when to fight, and you have to know when to build. Because if you're fighting when you should be building, you're going to destroy the wall. You're going to destroy the relationship. Or when you're building and you should be fighting, you're going to destroy you. You're going to allow outside things to come in. You're building, and you got all of these issues coming at you. You have all of these issues coming at you, and you're not dealing with the issue, but you're just steady building. Every time you put up a rock, somebody come and knock that rock down. Every time you put some cement up, somebody come and wipe the cement off. Because you should be fighting instead of building. Or on the flip side, you out there fighting. You're out there fighting, just wasting bullets and wasting your energy on fighting. And now when you really need to turn around and recognize, okay, I done wasted all this time and all this energy fighting, and you turn around and try to build, guess what? You're too tired. You're mentally exhausted. You're mentally drained. You're physically drained. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You can't communicate. Or when you do communicate, it comes out wrong. Because you're fatigued emotionally. You're fatigued spiritually. You're fatigued physically. Because you done wasted all of this time on fighting ghosts. There it is. Out there fighting ghosts instead of saying, you know what? Here's the deal. I need to pay attention to what's going on with me. I need to be able to sit back, relax, and take it easy, and stop fighting so much. I wanna take my time, and because when you're building, watch this. When you're building, you take your time. I'm in the process. I don't know if y'all anything like me. It took everything in me not to start on November 1 to start decorating for Christmas. I lasted for a couple of weeks, but I'm out there decorating. But guess what? I have stuff scattered all over the living room, but I'm taking my time. Instead of just throwing it up, I'm enjoying myself, and I'm taking. I put up my train yesterday, built a little city for the train, and I'm taking my time. Instead of one day just coming out and I'm gonna put all the boxes out and I'm gonna put everything up today. No, I'm gonna build this thing one day at a time. One day at a time. That's my conversation with you all this morning. I hope something that I said was good to you. I hope that seed can be planted somewhere in your heart and in your mind. Shout out to those that are on Facebook. I really don't unless I say my good mornings first thing in the beginning of the show. I really don't conversate, because I don't want to miss my place or what my train of thought. So good morning to those that's on Facebook. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. This recording will be live, still on my page, so you can go back. Those that came in late, you can go back and listen to it, or you can also check me out on www. Why do I always say W's? You don't have to put W's in the browser thing anymore. But go to lifeafterthecollar.com, lifeafterthecollar.com, and you'll be able to see my shows, all of my different shows that I have. Life After the Collar Presents Conversation is just about up. I think I have three episodes recording. I want to get about 2 or 3 more. I want to get up to 5 or 6 episodes before I start pushing them out. So holla at your boy. It's all good. It's definitely all great. But I'll check you all later. Be good and definitely be great.
Here we go, here we go, get go, take it slowly. You got to get we got to reason, but get easy, but to beat it, we got a reason, but you get both. It's fine. Come on and take a little ride. With reach for the sky. Forget your troubles for a while. With breeze and style. Breeze